the Morse Museum, where an exquisite collection of Louis Comfort Tiffany's work resides. Now, the pictures simply don't do it justice, which is why it's so important that you come here and see it with your own two eyes. Fortunately, thanks to the generosity of two individuals who founded the museum and rescued many of the pieces here today, you can have that opportunity. Kristen Kenney has more.
The Morse Museum in Winter Park is home to the world's most comprehensive collection of Louis Comfort Tiffany treasures. Treasures that extend far beyond just silver and jewelry and into functional pieces of art like windows, furniture, and lamps.
This is something that is so unique. To actually have one piece is just unheard of.
Louis Comfort Tiffany, the son of renowned jewelry owner Charles Louis Tiffany, opted at age 24 to rebel against his father's jewelry business and explore the world of glassmaking.
He developed an American glass. This is really his great innovation.
A glass that over a century later has become prized and universally admired for its unique art form and stunning beauty.
People are always astounded simply by the sheer aesthetic power, the profound beauty of this work.
But it's more than just beautiful. It's distinctive.
Instead of looking for purity of glass, he's looking for all of the imperfections. And they're these huge, we call them jewels, they're just chunks of glass of all different color. And then there's an iridescence on it, so it reflects and refracts light all over the place.
Up until the early 1880s, glass was prized for its purity of color, it being transparent and perfect. Tiffany's glass was the opposite. It yielded a kaleidoscope of colors, shadows, tones, and textures in just one sheet of glass.
But you can see the beautiful little tiny pieces of glass, about an inch square, with several different greens and whites all in one place. It looks like confetti has been worked through the glass. And it's just another example of the kind of complexity of glass that you find in Tiffany windows and Tiffany lamps and everything Tiffany did.
Tiffany, best known as a glassmaker, was also a painter, potter, and an interior designer.
He's so related to glass and windows and lamps that people don't realize the variety of material that he worked in.
He started as a painter, and then he began experimenting in glass, and then he moved into the stained glass, and then he became really a decorative artist, an architect at Laurelton Hall.
A decorative artist who provided interior designs for clients ranging from Mark Twain to President Chester Arthur. But his most impressive interior is the Tiffany Chapel, a centerpiece that brought the already successful designer to even greater heights of popularity.
It was a chapel interior made by Tiffany for the World's Fair in Chicago in 1893.
And so this was actually an opportunity for him to show off what he could do.
The chapel was designed as an interior with no particular church in mind. When you walk into the chapel, the beauty of Tiffany is all around you. From the colors to the mosaics to the chandelier, or as Tiffany called it, the electrolier. It's simply breathtaking.
He was actually awarded at the exposition an award for combining the technical and the beautiful.
More than 1.4 million visitors oohed and awed over Tiffany's Byzantine-inspired chapel decor when it first made its appearance in Chicago. Over a century later, it continues to have the same effect right here in Winter Park, thanks to a local husband and wife who founded the Morse Museum in 1942.
Well, that's a wonderful and interesting story. Jeanette Genius McCain founded the museum and named it after her grandfather, Charles Hosmer Morse. And she eventually married Hugh McCain, who was a painter, and became the first director of the museum.
But the real story is how Tiffany's Chapel came to Orlando in the first place.
This was meant to be a temporary structure. It was created for the World's Columbian Exposition.
It moved on to serve as an art monument at Laurelton Hall, Tiffany's Long Island estate that included a museum and art school.
Hugh had been a student at Laurelton Hall, so he knew Tiffany the man.
Tiffany thought Laurelton Hall would last forever, but it didn't. When he died in 1933, his estate and most of his belongings were sold. Then in 1957, a devastating fire gutted the remaining Long Island estate.
No one cared about it. It actually burned. And one of the daughters of Tiffany called up Mrs. McCain, knowing about the exhibit that she had done in Winter Park, said, "Would you like to save a window?" And so they went up, Hugh and Jeanette McCain went up, and Jeanette said, "We have to save all that we can."
The result? A great influx of Tiffany's personal treasures right here in our backyard, including surviving remnants of the chapel.
There was only a shell of it that remained at Laurelton Hall.
But that didn't stop the McCains. It was their mission to preserve Tiffany's work of art, and they spent years doing it.
And I believe it was a 2.5-year period of conservation.
Finally, in 1999, the chapel was fully restored and on display at the Morse Museum. It was the first time in over a century where people could see Tiffany's masterpiece.
And that really changed the Charles Hosmer Morse Museum of American Art from being a very fine local museum to being something that really is an international treasure.
Sadly, the McCains passed away before this treasure was complete. But their vision continues to live on at the Morse Museum.
That's just a taste of the Arts Connection. You can catch more great stories like this at the Arts Connection website at wmfe.org/arts and see new episodes every Thursday night at 8 on WMFE TV. Thanks for watching.